So it's great to see you, Shiraz.
Good to see you. How are you?
Yeah, very good indeed. And it's marvellous, isn't it, in Savile Row? And, you know, if you think the grandfather of Savile Row, Henry Paul, legend says that it was Henry Paul that designed the original dinner suit for King Edward VII back in the 1860s.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was apparently a formal dinner in Sandringham. And it's just steeped in history. And it kind of gets that thinking about, you know, what's your attitude to dress and does dressing change the way you feel, the way you behave? Is that something that you have taken a conscious decision on in your career?
I think that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because actually, initially it didn't start in that way at all. You know, whilst I was a dental student, I was working in tailoring for Ted Baker.
Oh, right.
Right.
Oh, so it goes right back to the beginning.
Yeah, to the beginning.
Right.
So much so that actually I couldn't even take time off in the summer. I'd have to go back to Birmingham on the weekends to keep the job.
Oh.
So I was head of their tailoring sort of department, and yeah, you know, I'd get a suit every season. I'd always try and jazz it up in my own way. I was doing the tailoring, as in the refinements of the suits for people and all of that sort of stuff.
Lovely.
So actually, that's where it all started from.
And was there something before that that got you? Yeah, as a child, were you always interested in clothes, or was it as you kind of came through your teens?
No, so I was always interested in clothing. It's probably a little bit less formal in my younger days. But my grandfather was also a man of chivalry, and you know, he'd be three-piece suit to go to to supermarket. You know, so he was
had a suit for decorating,
like everything. So that slowly came back to me when I started working at Ted Baker, and I was like, oh no, I really love this. So I started, you know, having developed my own sort of inverted commas formal style, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Well, you're very distinctive. Yeah. You're very distinctive. You know, and I guess it's something that doesn't happen immediately. It takes a little bit of working on.
And also, the intention is not to be distinctive per se.
Yeah.
It's almost like I just like expressing creativity or freedom.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, I want to stand out as some people might assume it as.
But I think sometimes that it looks like you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know, you see people that sometimes have a style about them, but it's a forced style. Right. It doesn't feel natural.
That doesn't feel organic.
No.
So
no.
I think so for that part of things, I finished obviously dentistry, finished Ted Baker and whatever, but I was still just always wearing formal clothes.
Right. Yeah.
So when I was going to conferences, congresses or whatever, I had all these formal clothes that I had accrued over the years when I was working at Ted Baker.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, I was putting them together in a weird way, and I realised actually the time and effort taken to even get the smaller details are the things that are very, very similar to my personality type.
Yeah.
So it's all about the small detail that makes a difference. It's not about, don't get me wrong, yeah, sure, you could wear a bright yellow suit if you wanted to, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you like. But actually, it's probably about the way that pocket square is just flowered up, or the socks that you try to highlight. They're the things that sort of inspire me, and therefore I realised actually it's a complete reflection of who you are, and the meticulous nature of paying attention to those small things can be applied to a cavity preparation, for example, in dentistry, or the way you're going to do a filling, or.
And I guess in a clinical sense, you don't have that much freedom in terms of what you can wear. So in a clinical environment, it's obviously really important to you know, appear in a particular way as a dentist. But you obviously do a lot of lecturing as well. And do you find the way you dress impacts on how you behave as well? Because years ago, in a previous life, I worked in the city, so it was suits and ties. And then when I got involved in Frankfurt and Associates, my dress code got toned down a bit. It was more informal. And then for a period, I thought, well, I wonder whether if I change my dress and I become more formal, would it affect the way I work? And I found it made no difference at all.
Wow.
It made no difference
Interesting,
at all.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, I think there's something to be said for appearance, and I'll use this analogy. Obviously, when you get a new haircut, you walk out and actually you just feel quite smart, don't you? Yeah. So when obviously you've composed something together, or you know, you've put it on and you're performing or speaking or even going to meetings or whatever, like meeting you, whatever. Actually, it does give you a sense of purpose for me. But I think that's usually variable per person.
Right. Yeah.
But like I said, I think having the opportunity to consciously, creatively express who you are, and still a professional life, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And I think people shouldn't shy away from that as an idea. I think people should embrace whatever their interests are.
Yeah.
And remember, it's those interests that make you human.
Yeah.
And people
Well, they're the
come
differences. They're the differences,
That's right.
or else everything becomes flat and vanilla.
Right.
Really interesting.
Yeah. So yeah.